Good morning, everyone. In today's class, we'll discuss on IDOCs. What is an IDOC? IDOC is like a intermediate document. So, in this class, we'll discuss on fully on IDOCs. What type of IDOCs are there, and how the IDOCs will be useful, and how to monitor the IDOC. How will you monitor the IDOCs and all? We'll let you know, okay? And this class is mainly theoretical class, and I will show you practically also how to create an IDOC and how to monitor the IDOC. I will show you the basic explanation and all. So before that, I want to show you the IDOC theoretical part where I maintain. We can go there and you can see the theoretically blog. I maintained a blog for IDOCs before explanation and all. So you can come here and you can see the IDOC explanation for theoretically. So the whole overview I explained theoretically. You can go, you can observe here how the IDOCs will work and all. But I will take a class for theoretical and practical also. I will show you in this class. Okay. So basically, IDOC is like a intermediate document. So what is intermediate document? We know that interface is there. Let's think that you have some data. You're working in some organization, and organization is using some data. It's like material data or vendor master data, any kind of PO data, invoice data. So whatever data, the data you are creating in one tool, you are sending to other tool. Got it? The data transfer between two tools. It can be SAP to SAP or else SAP to non-SAP also. Let's think that you have created one material. Just an example. You have created one material in SAP, and the other tool. Let's think that the other tool is like something Jira tool, where the production team is working in the Jira tool. So whatever the material you created in SAP, you should move to Jira tool automatically without any manual interface. Once you create the material in SAP, automatically that material should be moved to Jira tool. Okay. In this case, how it will get moved to Jira tool automatically? It will get moved with the help of an interface. Okay, what is the interface here? IDOC. IDOC is an intermediate document which acts like a mediator. Just mention like mediator. IDOC. IDOC is just like a mediator between tool to tool. Okay, like how it helps to move the material from one tool to other tool. So IDOC will help a material to move from SAP tool to other tool. And if you are an end user or if you are like a super user, you'll be knowing that mostly the companies will use to supplier to send the PO copy to supplier and to supply the logical system. Like any other production systems are there, any other organization tools, like within the internal departments, if you want to move the data, that is called logical system. Supplier system is like where you are sending the PO copy. Okay, so basically you will see all these things. So how many types of IDOCs you have? We have ALE IDOC and EDI IDOC. I'll explain in a bit. Types of IDOCs. How many types of IDOCs you have? We have ALE IDOC and EDI IDOC. So what is ALE IDOC? ALE IDOC is like, this is an interface which will help us to move to SAP to SAP tool. SAP to SAP tool, you will use ALE IDOC. I told you that ALE IDOC and EDI IDOC are like interfaces. Okay. And what is EDI IDOC? EDI IDOC is like to move from SAP system to non-SAP system. Non-SAP means any other tool except SAP, like vendor tool. The vendor may not use SAP. The vendor they may use some small tools. But even though you can send the PO copy to the vendor through EDI, through that some advantages are there. I will tell you what are the advantages if you send through EDI and all. Okay. And IDOC types. IDOC types are like inbound and outbound. Sorry, 1 minute. So IDOC types are like inbound and outbound IDOCs. Okay, what is inbound IDOC? Inbound is like if the information is coming from the supply system to your system, which means like the data has been sending to SAP system. Okay, it means like supplier system to SAP system. Inbound, which means you are receiving the message from the other tool. Okay, and what is outbound? Outbound is like SAP to other tool, which means like you are sending the message to the other system, which can be like purchase order. Purchase order is the best example for outbound. And for inbound, example for inbound is like order confirmation. Order confirmation, who will send? The supplier will send to the purchasing department order confirmation. And who will send the PO copy? The purchasing team will send the PO copy to supplier. It is like inbound as well as outbound call. Okay. So how will you signify the inbound and outbound in IDOC? Okay, how will you signify? Like while seeing the IDOC, you need to see whether it is like inbound or outbound IDOC. Inbound is like 01. Outbound is like 02. The next is like IDOC types for segments. IDOC types for segments. So what is IDOC types for segments? So we have two types of IDOC types are there for segments. One is like basic type, another is extension. So what is basic type and what is extension? First I will tell you all theoretically, and after that I will tell you practically. So once you understand these concepts, you will understand the practical very easily. And without understanding these small concepts, you can't move to the main concept. So that's the reason I'm telling you theoretically all these concepts. So IDOC types for segments. You have basic type and extension. So first of all, what is segment? A segment is like where you can find the fields. So let's think that you are sending a PO copy to supplier. You are sending a PO copy. In the PO copy, you can have some fields are there, like material quantity, the price, the information of the material, or else the BOM of material, and even the batch of the material. So all are like the fields in the purchase order. So you are sending like a fields to the other tool. It means that somewhere you are saving the fields in the SAP tool. It means like in the IDOC. In the IDOC, somewhere you are saving the SAP fields, so that whenever you are sending a PO copy through IDOC, the fields are going to the receiving system. So where do you save all the fields? You will save all the fields in the segments. You will save all the fields in the segments. So you will save all the fields in the segment. So how many types of segments are there? We have parent segments and child segments. So as I told you that the segments contains all the fields. So whatever the fields you are sending to the supplier, or else whatever the fields you are receiving from the supplier, all the IDOCs will be having some segments will be there. Okay, so the segments only, the fields will go to the receiving system or our system. And we have parent segments and child segments. What are parent segments and what are child segments? Parent segments are like which you can't change, which means like SAP standard things. SAP standard fields will be there. You know SAP standard and SAP customized things are like. What is SAP standard? Which means like which was given SAP to you to use for the purchasing purpose. What are customized segments? Which you will develop for your own organization things as per your requirements. So parent segments are like SAP standard segments, which you can find only SAP standard fields are there. So coming to child segments, where you can find some of the customized fields. Okay, if you want to send some of the customized fields to the vendor, then you need to maintain child segments, and the child segments, the field is called extension. The basic type is called SAP standard segments. Okay, the parent segments. The parent segments are like SAP standard segments and the basic type. The basic types you can see order 01, order 02 for purchase order. So you can see all these things for purchase order, orders. Okay, we have basic type is there. You have basic types are there. And extension will be like mostly if you have EDI consultants or like a basis consultants out there, so they will help you in the creation of code on all these things, or else even in the functional consultants they can create a segments and they can create fields and all, but it is not recommended by a functional consultant to create segments and all. If you have EDI consultants or some other consultants like basis and all, they used to help you in creating segments. Mostly EDI consultants will be taking care of the segments and all. Extension will be like if you have some customized fields that you are sending to the supplier, then you will maintain as an extension and you will send it to the supplier, which you can find all these in W20. When you are creating a partner profile, you will maintain all these things because you are sending all this data to vendor. So you will maintain the basic type. All these things are like to vendor. Extension, like you will maintain extension. Once you create an extension, automatically extension number will generate. So based on that, it will the fields will go to the supplier end. That is called basic type and extension. The other small things are like process code. What is a process code? So what is a process code? The process code, which will be like if you are sending any message to the vendor, the process code will help you to convert the message type to the the receiving tool type, source code, which will help you into the convert the format into respective format. The receiving format or else the let's think that from SAP to you are sending to some Oracle or something database, something tool. From SAP language to it will convert to the other system language, which is receiving system language. It will convert the and it will process the IDOC. That is called process code, which it will be like some other formats will be there. Character formats will be there. Then the number format will be there, which will convert it into the receiving format and it will send it to the other tool. Okay. And basically you'll use for three types of receiving systems will be there. One is like vendor, as I told you in the above screen, I told you vendor, customer, and logical system. Logical system. You'll use for only for these three things to perform the IDOCs. Okay, one is vendor, other is customer, and other is logical system. Vendor mainly used for the MM side. Customer will be used for mainly for SD side. And logical system mainly used for the all the modules which they have some production based things are there. Then they will use logical system and all. The other is port. What is a port? If you created a vendor partner profile, you will be knowing what is port. Port is like the receiving system port. Let's think that if you are going to any website, you will be having some URL, which means like the URL for the respective thing, which will be having the sending port and receiving port will be there. Port address will normally will call as port address technically. This will be technically given by the basis team. The port number, the receiving system port number, where they will create and they will be sending to you while creating a partner profile. The same thing like if you are receiving from the vendor, you will be having the respective port number. You need to maintain your port number instead of vendor port number. These are the basics of IDOCs. Okay, I told you all basics. Okay, and I explained you what type of errors you will receive in IDOC. I'll show you practically also. Before that, I am clearing you in understanding critically. I mentioned in the blog for what type of IDOC errors you will receive and what type of status we will be having in IDOCs. Mainly, they will ask you status. What is the status if the port issue in the supplier system? What is the status code if it is failed in terms of any error in the PO copy? It means like in the PO, if there is any error, any standard field is missing, any mandatory field is missing. So what is the error code you will receive? So these are the normal things which in the interview they will ask. So I already mentioned in the blog what all errors you will receive and all those things I explained there. Okay, you can go and you can see there for all those things. Now we can go and see practically to create a vendor partner profile and how to monitor the IDOCs and all. Let's open SAP. Whatever I'm explaining is like which is required for 3 to 4 years of experience who is having into consultants. Mostly the monitoring of IDOCs they will be doing in a daily basis, but the creation of profiles also they used to do, but not creation of segments and all. So this is enough for 3 to 4 years of experience candidates. So what is the T code to create a partner profile is W20. W20 is to create a partner profile. So what is a partner profile? Let's think that you are creating an IDOC for any vendor. Let's think that you are sending a PO copy to the vendor through EDI. which means like through electronically you are sending the data to the respective vendor. So what is the use of sending to the vendor through EDI? You can send it to the email also, you can send it through fax, even you can send it through all the ways. But what is the use of sending through EDI, electronic data interchange? What is the use of sending through an electronic message? If you're sending through an EDI, it means that you created some segments, and segments is having fields. So what is the use of creating segments, and what is the use of maintaining fields in the segments? So once the supplier system receives the purchase order copy, automatically it will read the segments and it will read the fields, which will be taken care by the respective department. This is called mapping of fields. Mapping of fields will be taken place. Even if you perform LSNW, which will be like data upload and all, you can see mapping of fields, like field to field, table to table, where you will map the field. What is the use of here in EDI? What is the use of mapping? So once you send the purchase order through vendor, from vendor side, they used to create a sales order. Normally, this is the purchasing process. Once you create a purchase order and once you send it to the vendor, from vendor side, if they want to take out some material and they want to send it to you, they need to create a sales order and they need to send it to the respective department to move the goods to the plant. So in this case, if you send a purchase order through EDI, the fields will get mapped, and through the mapped fields, automatically sales order will create. So here see, without any man involving, the sales order is creating automatically. When the sales order is created, automatically they will send the goods to the plant without any delay. Like that, when they send order confirmation, the order confirmation number will be updated in the SAP automatically. For this purpose, the mapping of fields will be done in the from SAP side. This will be taken care by the EDI consultants or basis consultants, the mapping of fields. No need to worry for the functional side. And if you're working as a techno-functional consultant, then you are involved in this one. But if you're working as the only functional consultant, you are not involved in segments as well as mapping. Okay, this is the use of sending a PO copy to the vendor through EDI. Okay, where the sales order will be creating automatically, and there is no manual process is there. There is no time delay happening here. Okay, and W20 is the T code to create a partner profile. So if you are sending any PO copy to the vendor electronically through EDI, it means that you need to create a vendor partner profile. For that vendor, you need to create here. You need to maintain that vendor in the logical system. It means like LI is the vendor. You need to maintain the vendor. Here if you see here, K is the customer, LI is the vendor, and bank is there, business partner is there. So what all type of partner profiles we have, it is showing all the elements. So if you want to see the vendor is maintained in the partner profile or not, just drop down here and you can see all the types of vendors which is maintained for the EDI. So this all the vendors are maintained for EDI. So if you are creating any PO for this respective vendors, automatically the message type will come into picture, and through message type you need to select EDI. Once you select EDI, automatically it will go to the vendor. The purchase order will go to the vendor automatically. Okay. Just click on the vendor, it will show all the vendor information and all which you created. But if you want to add any vendor, just you need to select the create option and you need to create the vendor partner profile. System is slow, just wait for a minute. This is the option to create partner profile for the respective vendor. If you're working for any banking system, you need to maintain for the LS logical system and all. So partner number. So whatever the vendor you are maintaining, if you get a request to maintain the vendor for partner profile to the stakeholders, you need to come to W20 and you need to maintain the partner number here. So as I don't have the vendor number here, I'll be creating one vendor and after that I will be adding. Create one new vendor. For the respective vendor, create a partner profile. And for the partner, create a PO and send a message to the vendor through EDI. Just create a sample vendor. If you have some other vendor, just use that vendor instead of creating a new vendor. It's a waste of time. I created one vendor now. Vendor number is just wait for a minute. The vendor will be created because I started my server now only. So that is the reason the server is very slow. The vendor number is 100328 is the vendor which you created for the respective purchase organization company code. 100328. Now go to the partner profile and maintain the partner number. 100328 is the vendor. And what is the partner type? And told the partner type vendor, customer, and logical system. And we have many other things, but mainly you will use these three. And LI is the vendor, KU is the customer, LS is the logical system. Okay, here maintain LI is the vendor. If you maintain LS, it means that it's a logical system. Okay. LI is the vendor, and just enter it. Partner role. Okay, and just save the screen here. So, once you save the screen, you can see these options. You need to fill these options here. Once you say this one 100328, automatically in the LI you can see 100328 vendor. It means that the vendor is added to the partner profile. Now we need to edit the partner profile. Okay. The type agent language will come automatically with respect to the vendor selection, the partner type. And if you see here, outbound parameter and inbound parameter. What is an outbound or is an inbound? I already explained you previously. Outbound is like which you are sending to the supplier system. Okay. And inbound is like which you are receiving from the supplier system. So if you want to maintain for outbound, you can maintain outbound here. Or else if you want to maintain for inbound, you can maintain inbound here. Okay. Both the ways it is possible. But now we can see outbound because this is a purchase order you are sending to the vendor. Click on plus icon, which means you need to maintain the vendor vendor things and all you need to maintain here. Okay, this one. What is the partner role? The partner role I'm mentioning like VN. The order type is like the message type. Message type is like it's a purchase order, invoice, or order confirmation. What type of message type is that? That you can select here. Message type. System is slow, or else I can show you fastly. And I don't have few details, so that I am explaining you theoretically, and I will explain you how much are the practical things I can explain you here. The message type can be orders, invoice, okay, or material master, any kind of things. Just I mentioned like orders, okay, these are not required, but the port number is required. The receiver port is like the supplier port number. The supplier port number is mandatory if you are sending a PO copy to the vendor. I don't have supplier port and all, but I can see some other port is available or not. So I'm trying for something to take something as an idea system, but normally ask for the basis consultant to give the port number. And basic type, or the basic type you have orders. Okay, or if you can go to here, you can see extension is like any customizer fields out there in those cases and all. You will be doing all the customizer fields. You need to maintain an extension, and after that you used to perform this activity. On order 0, 1, 2, 3 is for the purchase order, and order 0, 4, 5, sorry, order 0, 1, 2, 3 is for the sales, and order 0, 4, 5 is like a purchase order, I think. Extension, which will be like if you have some customizer fields out there, the customizer fields and all, you need to maintain some extension number, and you need to maintain the extension with respect to the basic type. Okay. And application. So what type of application, what type of message you are sending? Is a purchase order or contract or some kind of things? Application we are sending like purchase order. 1 minute, the value of packaging, to understand here. Okay, go to the message control. In the message control, you need to maintain the purchase order or contract, what type of application okay you are using. So normally you'll select EF for the application, which is the purchase order, and ES is for contract, and message type is like what is the type of message you are sending to the respective vendor. It's like orders, purchase order or invoice or material or vendor, any kind of things.